When I talk about being a supervisor, there are 3 areas that I want to especially talk about, and that is building culture, building relationships, and building skills. And those are 3 ways that we can develop the employees that we've been entrusted with. So when it comes to building culture, every office and department on this campus has its own culture. And I've heard this from many of our employees who will attend supervisor sessions, that they maybe worked in one particular department and then there's a job that's open that gives them a little bit more money, and it's a promotion, so they'll go work in another department on campus, and they'll come to me and go, Charlotte, it is like 2 different planets working in these offices, and it's based on the culture and the norms of that particular office. Maybe it's the way people dress. One office may be much more formal than another office, which is more casual. All of these differences are based on the role and the purpose of that particular office on campus. It's also based on leadership and how people choose to lead that particular area. So it's very important when you have a new employee that you communicate what the norms are for your culture, okay? And there's a number of ways that you do that. The training checklist will help you decide what norms and what things are important in your particular area. Your vision or your mission statements. Not every department or office has this, but I encourage you to develop a vision statement and a mission statement for your area. And every time you have a new employee, you share that vision and mission. It lets them know what you want to be known for, which is your vision, and the mission is what you do on a daily basis to accomplish that vision. We act with honesty. We're customer service driven. We're kind to one another. Those are your mission statements, and those mission statements contribute to the vision. Another thing that I recommend is that you as an office staff identify your values. What's important to you on how you do your work? The values are the daily behaviors that you exhibit and that you profess that lead to what it is that you're doing in your mission and how you accomplish your vision. There's a great exercise, and it's in page 38, once again, of your training manual, and this is called Values Clarification. Anytime I have a new employee, I have them complete this, and basically the employee is communicating what top 10 values they have when it comes to work. Is it promptness? Is it honesty? Is it team, working together as a team? Is it feedback? And what I do is I have the new employee identify their top 10 values, and then I share with this new employee that as a supervisor, these are the top 10 things I value. And it is a great exercise. It doesn't take very long, but what it does is in a proactive way, it communicates to this new employee, this is what's important to us in this office. Sadly, most of the time people hear what you value when there's been a problem, when they haven't lived up to your expectations, when their behavior is against what it is that's important to you. For example, if I say one of my top 10 values is promptness, that people are on time at work and at meetings, and let's say I have a new employee who's consistently late. Well, eventually that new employee is going to hear from me that I'm disappointed, that I'm frustrated, that I'm angry because they're not on time. See, that person's behavior is not consistent and does not contribute to what's important to me as their supervisor in the workplace. So it's much better for that employee to hear up front, this is what's important to me in the workplace, then later on, 2 or 3 months into the semester, when that particular employee is not meeting my expectations. And that's why I love to share values at the very beginning. This is what this office values. This is what's important. But also hear from the new employee and what's important to them. There's also job descriptions, and I encourage you to write a job description for your student workers. What do you expect from them? Have a job description for your graduate assistants. Now you're thinking, Charlotte, I don't have time for this. Well, once again, in the handbook, pages 44 through 56 are sample job descriptions. These are from offices all over our campus. So basically, you can take any one of these job descriptions and just strike out the other office's name and put your own name in it. So job descriptions, organization charts, and show them how your office or department is set up and where they fit in the big picture. You know what you're doing is you're affirming their position and you're affirming them as a professional in that particular office. Another thing that I would share with you as a supervisor as far as culture is to give your new employees an index card and to ask them to write down what they expect of you as a supervisor. What do they expect of you? Then you give them an index card and you ask them to write down what you expect of them as an employee. So you share what your expectations are, then they write down what their expectations are of you, and you read those out loud, and you have a two-way conversation. Or if it's several people at one time, you have a conversation on, okay, I'm reading all of your cards. Here's what y'all expect of me as a supervisor, and here's how I'm going to acknowledge that. And then now I want you to know what I expect all of you as employees in this particular office. This is a great team builder. It's a great way, once again, to communicate up front, here's how we're going to work together. Office lingo. Identifying the language that your particular office uses and making sure that all the new employees understand that language. And I'll be talking a little bit about that in just a minute. Giving them a physical tour of the building that they're going to be working in. You may be in a building that has high traffic where people come into your office asking for directions to other places, and it's important that your student workers and your graduate assistants know how to direct people. It's very frustrating for someone to be sitting in a front desk and be asked by another student or a faculty member or a visiting community member where a particular building is or an office is, and they have no idea. So one thing I recommend is that when you have a new employee, you give them a tour of the building that you're in, what other offices, what other departments are in that building. And you even give them a cheat sheet and that they have that next to the phone so that if they're approached and people ask questions, they will feel confident and equipped and know how to direct those people to other parts of the building. Another option is that you can go to this YouTube address that we're going to provide. The YouTube is excellent and it literally identifies every building on campus and what that building houses. This is a great tool to educate your employees so that even if they don't do a walking tour, they themselves have a virtual tour so they know where buildings on this campus are. Also, as far as building culture, performance agreement are wonderful ways to let people know what your expectations are. I've included in the handbook on page 68 several performance agreement forms that you can utilize. Once again, just copy and paste and utilize them for yourself. And you have your students and GAs sign these at the very beginning of their position and then at the end of their position, and you communicate how well they've done or what things they need to work on. And then another thing that I'm really excited to share about, and that is BOLT. BOLT is B-O-L-T. This is a brand new online training for any new student employee on our campus. This was created this last year by one of our students, and it was modeled after an online program at Vanderbilt University. The BOLT program literally has 7 modules, and a student goes to this website and enters this particular program, and they go through each module. One module is all the forms that they need to complete in order to be an employee on campus. Another module is telephone etiquette, how to properly answer the phone, how to transfer calls. So they go through all of these 7 modules, and at the end there's a short quiz. They complete the quiz, which reinforces all the material that they've just heard. Then they print the quiz and sign it, and then they're obligated to turn in that particular quiz to their supervisor to let them know that they completed the online program. It's another tool that you can use if you're extremely busy and don't have a great deal of time for their training. You can use this to subsidize the current training that you're providing for your particular department. So I encourage you to utilize the BOLT, the Bears Online Training Program.